What's up, you guys? So today I'm going to be reviewing my entire Hammond collection as of August of 2025, and I will be doing things differently this year. First, some very quick context. I posted a photo of my whole Hammond collection back in August 19th of 2022, and since then I kind of just made it like an annual tradition to just review the whole collection. So, yeah, that's about it. Things will be different this year because, for one, I am now going to be counting the San Diego Comic-Con figures, which I didn't in previous videos because they're exclusive and hard to get. But now I'm going to be including them because there are some new dinosaur species, and I mean, they're technically a part of the Hammond collection anyway. The only one I don't have currently is the Outhouse Chaos set, and I don't know if I ever will have the Outhouse Chaos set, considering on how much it's being sold for on eBay or elsewhere. So, yeah. And I will be doing these things in a different order now. I used to do each figure just by wave, but now I'm going to be doing them from smallest to largest. Still on wave, though. Because, yeah, I need some space for my desk, and I'm pretty sure the large figures are just going to, like, take over my desk entirely. So, yeah, let's just get into it, shall we? Alright, let's start off with the smaller boys. I'm pretty sure I already said that, but I don't care. We're going to be starting off with the short Hammond Collection figures released back in 2022, which, funnily enough, is the original trio of dinosaurs from the Jurassic Park movie. So, for wave one of the Hammond Collection, aka the very first Hammond Collection figures, we got the Velociraptor, and it was good for its time. I mean, it definitely wasn't the best thing in the world, but yeah, it was okay for its time. Now, all the short figures follow the same principle of articulation, so I'll probably go through the articulation in less detail as the video progresses. But, yeah. So, the Velociraptor, I mean, it could be better. I mean, first of all, the figure looks very malnourished. I mean, it is basically a shrunken down sculpt of the Amber Collection figure. Except for these giant feet. I don't know why they decided to do that. But, yeah. The figure's head is on a ball joint, and so is the neck, although it's not very good. I have trimmed my joints down to give them a little bit more range. Oh yeah, and the mouth can also open and close. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows. The legs can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body. Okay, well, this one can. This one can't. And the knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360. And so can the feet. Tail's on a ball joint, and there is a wire in the tail, which I will be only demonstrating with the Velociraptor, because I don't really like to bend these. I have said it in a few reviews before, but I really don't like bending these because the metal wire could break, although I'm not too rough with them, so I don't have to worry about that. But still, better safe than sorry. And next up for the line is the Gallimimus, released in July of 2022. I can't remember if Wave 2 released back in July or August. I don't know, it was probably July. But anyways, so here we have the figure, and it's very conflicting, because this thing is orange, even though it should be beige. But, yeah, that's just very weird. Like, why is this thing orange? They also, at this time, changed the articulation. I think they may have realized that the ball joints that they gave the Raptor was a bit too stiff and, like, had terrible range. And so, since the Gallimimus, kind of relies on the range, and plus some of the points on this figure are a lot thinner than what they would normally do for ball joints, they decided to give this thing hinge joints, which at the time I really did not like, because I was a fan of ball joints. But after messing with it for a while, I kind of grew to like them a little bit more. Mainly because it allows for thinner necks, and plus, I mean, it gives it a little bit more range than the ball-jointed figures. But anyway, so the mouth can open and close. The head can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the neck. The elbows can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, so can the elbows. Legs can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body. The knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the ankles. So far, this is the only small Hammond Collection figure to have ankle articulation but no foot articulation. And the tail is on a ball joint, and there is a wire in the tail. So that's about it for this figure. And last but not least, for the final Hammond Collection figure of 2022, we got the Dilophosaurus. And it's probably my favorite Hammond Collection figure. I really like the colors on it. I mean, yes, it does have its problems, like, for example, the eye has a slit pupil when it should have just a normal dotted pupil. And also, there is no white at all outlining the little black patterns on this thing. But, yeah. It also comes with this little frill piece, which, as pointed out by Marco, makes is unnecessary because even whenever this thing's frills are closed, it's very well hidden, like it's barely even noticeable. But anyways, yeah, so for articulation, like we just announced, the jaw can open and close, the head can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the neck. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body. The arms can move up and down and rotate a full 360. The legs can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body. Knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the feet. There is a ball joint inside here, which, for whatever reason, the ball joint was a bit ratchety. Like, there was a very noticeable click whenever you moved it up, down, or left and right. But mine's ball joint has been worn out, so there really isn't any sort of click in it anymore. And there is also a wire in the tail. And now it's time to take a look at the 2023 Small Hammond Collection figures. Now, kicking things off, we have the ones that have been released in March, the Velociraptor and the Pachycephalosaurus. So the Pachycephalosaurus is very, very weird, mainly because it has unnaturally human-like hands, like straight-up uncanny valley hands. I don't know why they decided to do this. There is no evidence of Pachycephalosaurus having opposable thumbs, and hell, I don't even know if the Pachycephalosaurus in the film had opposable thumbs. In fact, I don't even know if it had 5 digits. But, yeah, so that's a thing, I guess. But anyways, so the jaw can open, if I can... Alright. The jaw can open and close, and the head can move up and down and rotate a full 360. Okay, well, you have to hold the neck down in order for it to rotate. The neck can move up and down and rotate a full 360. And also, this thing is very prone to paint chipping. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows. The legs can rotate a full 360, I think. Yeah. And it can also spread from the body. Knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the feet. The tail is on a ball joint, and there is a wire inside the tail. And now we have the male JP3 Velociraptor, which was definitely one of the worst Hammond Collection figures released back in 2023. I mean, I don't know what was going through the mind process of Mattel whenever they were making this thing, but, I mean, yeesh, this thing is just awful. But, yeah, so let's just, let's review it, so that way we don't have to think about it for too long. So the jaw could open and close. The head can move up and down and rotate a full 360. Well, it can, but I have to hold the neck down. The neck can move up and down and rotate a full 360. The arms can spread apart and rotate a full 360, and so can the elbows. The legs can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body. The knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the ginormous feet. Which, I mean, why is the back of the ankle even painted? And there is a ball joint in the tail, and look at that, there's paint that runs down to the tail for once. Although, that doesn't really save it. Let's just get out of here. And now for May 2025, we have the first and currently only Amazon exclusive Hammond Collection figure, the female Velociraptor. Now this figure came in a play set with Alan Grant. It's basically just your basic cookie cutter Mattel Amazon exclusive pack, where it just comes with a dinosaur and occasionally a human, along with a few random accessories. Well, I don't know I don't know if I should describe it like that, but I mean, it is definitely a little bit better than the male raptor, but it's just, ugh. I mean, the head just looks weird. The eye placement's weird, and it's just, ugh. But it does appear that they have given it a slightly thicker neck, which I guess is good. I guess that's a step in the right direction. And this thing does have like accurate feet colors now, so I guess that's a good thing. The mouth can open and close, and the head can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the neck. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread, and so can the elbows. The legs can rotate a full 360, I think, and can spread from the body. This one barely spreads, I don't know why. The knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the feet. Tail's on a ball joint, and there is a wire in there. And now for July 2025, we have the Hammond Collection Steven Spielberg set released back in San Diego Comic-Con of 2023. And honestly, there really isn't anything different with this set. I mean, the only difference is that the Dilo's open frill has darker edges, and honestly, that's really about it. And apparently the Dilophosaurs had very terrible quality control over a lot of them. So I guess really the only other highlight of this set is Steven Spielberg, which I'm not doing the humans for this collection video, so yeah, this thing is basically just void. And now we got the figures released in October of 2023. We got the Stegosaurus and the baby T-Rex. Now the Stegosaurus at the time and still currently looks like a big fat rhinoceros turd. I mean, it's just very goofy and it's just weird overall. But yeah, so I mean, I guess for some highlights, it's slightly better than the JP3 male raptor, or any of them for that matter. But then again, it's just, But for articulation, the jaw can open and close. The head can rotate a full 360 on this little swivel joint, although I don't really know if anyone would ever notice it, or let alone use it. The head can move up and down and rotate a full 360. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows. The legs, I don't know if they can, yeah, they can rotate a full 360, and they can spread from the body. The knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the feet. The tail's on a ball joint and can move around a little bit. And the tip of the tail is on a little hinge joint and can move up and down and rotate a full 360. Well, just imagine it doing that. The baby T-Rex is the first and currently only Hammond Collection figure to have fully articulated legs, although that title is now taken by the Ornitholestes and maybe Dryosaurus. I think it was the Dryosaurus that also has fully articulated legs. But yeah, those things are just terrible, so let's get back into the baby T-Rex. So the mouth can open and close. The head can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the neck. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows. Ooh. The legs can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body. The knee can move up and down and rotate a full 360, so can the ankles and the feet. The tail's on a ball joint, and there's a wire in the tail. And now we're going to be doing the smaller figures for 2024. Now, for this one, I'm not necessarily sure when it released. I got mine in February, so I don't know if it was supposed to release alongside Blue, although I think it may have released in January. So, just to be safe, we're going to say this is from January 2024, the Hammond Collection Dimetrodon. Now, I have obviously modded this figure a little bit. I gave it a mainline Dimetrodon head. As you can see, some of the little spots are peeking out. I'm planning on getting a different one soon. Just like leave it unmodified and like just have a standard one. But anyway, so the mouth can open and close. The neck can move up and down. Although it's a very crappy mechanic, it can also rotate a full 360. However, with the older head, there's some slight spine peeking out of it, so it can't look up at all. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows. The legs can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body. The knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the feet. The tail's on a ball joint, and there is a wire inside the tail. And now for the figure released in April 2025, for whatever reason, we have the Velociraptor Blue. And honestly, this is probably my favorite of the Hammond Collection Raptors. I mean, this was around the time where they finally improved the Velociraptors. They're now a lot fatter. They now have, like, thicker thighs. Generally just thicker parts and make it look more like... to make it look like it hasn't been starved for its entire life. And also the tail's longer now. So anyways, let's just get into the articulation. So the mouth can open that far and close. The head can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the neck. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows. The legs can rotate a little bit. I don't know if it would be a... okay, it is. And it can also spread from the body. The knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the feet. They have also shortened the feet with the Raptor, so that's a plus. And there is a ball joint on the tail, and there is a wire in here. And, yeah. And now we're going to get into the ones that were released in July of 2024. So Delta had very strange quality control issue problems back when it was initially released. For example, a lot of the underpaint for the neck was painted upside down and would be painted on the back of the neck instead of, right here. And there was also some other random quality control issues. Mine's leg doesn't spread, and I think there's a little bit of... no, there isn't any scuffing in here. But anyway, so the jaw can open and close. The head can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the neck. Arms can rotate a full 360 and can spread from the body, and so can the elbows. The legs can rotate a full 360 if the arm isn't in the way. And it can also spread. Knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the feet. And the tail's on a ball joint, and again, there's a wire in here. And hopefully sometime this year, or maybe in 2026, they release Echo and Charlie. And hopefully the Hammond Collection Echo will finally have accurate Echo colors. And now for the Pyroraptor, this one was actually quite difficult to get. I'm not sure how easy it was for everyone, but it was out of stock for a while whenever it initially released. But then randomly it managed to, but then randomly it finally went back in stock and I ordered mine. And I didn't receive mine at the time when I created last year's full collection video. But I have it now, so it's finally here. But anyway, so the jaw can open and close. The head is on a ball joint and can move around a bunch and rotate a full 360. And so is the neck, and it can also rotate a full 360. They finally brought back the ball joints for the smaller figures. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body. And so can the elbow joints. I absolutely hate the elbow joints because, I mean, look at that. That is unbelievably small. I mean, yeesh. Couldn't it be any riskier? I mean, hell, that thing is barely thinner. That thing is barely thicker than the mini Quetzalcoatlus wing joints. So, yeah, that's a bit scary. The legs can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body. The knees can move up and down, rotate a full 360, and so can the feet. The tail is on a ball joint, and there's also a wire in the tail. And, yeah. And now for the Comic-Con exclusive small figure, we got Dimorphodon, which I don't necessarily know if this would count as a small figure. I mean, it is small, but it is smaller than all the other figures. But I am counting it for this because it did release alongside the Hammond Collection Jimmy Buffett playset thing. And there were 3 that came with this, but they're all the same figures, so I only have one. So I'm only showing one. And there isn't any articulation with these figures. And yeah, they look quite horrifying, especially with those ginormous eyes. And there's also a hole in their stomachs, so that way you can plug them into the little base that it comes with. So, yeah, that's about it for 2024's Hammond Collection figure selection. And now we have the 2025 Small Hammond Collection figures, in which, funnily enough, this year is where, and funnily enough, the most Small Hammond Collection figures were released this year, with the current number being 6, not counting the San Diego Comic-Con Dilophosaurus from 2023. And now we're going to be starting off with January. We're just going to get this one out of the way. I really hate this figure. This is the Scutosaurus. It's a mammal-like reptile that lived during the Permian period. And I honestly do not understand why so many companies keep disrespecting this animal. I mean, for crying out loud, this is what a Scutosaurus looks like. But then you call this a Scutosaurus? I mean, I kind of see it. I mean, it has the giant bulky build, short stubby limbs, you know, like the real Scutosaurus had. But this is, that face is not a Scutosaurus. That is a gremlin. Especially whenever you open the mouth, that is a gremlin. So, yeah, that's just goofy. So the jaw can open and close. There's a very terrible ball joint in the head because of the way this thing is sculpted. And there's also a ball joint in the base of the neck, which it can move around a bunch. The arm can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows and wrists for once. The legs can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body. The knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, but not the feet. So, let me get this straight. You're going to give us wrist articulation for once, but no longer feet articulation? Dude, have some form of consistency. And the tail is on a ball joint, but it's so tiny I don't even know if they even needed the ball joint. And now we have a bit of a disappointing figure, the baby Triceratops released back in January. Now, for this video, I'm not going to be counting any of the variants, like, for example, the Golden Eye Ceratosaurus / Yellow Eye one. Nor am I going to be counting the lighter green variant, because, honestly, that's just a bit ridiculous. I'm not really a variant collector like Andy. But, yes, so the mouth can open and close. The head can move up and down and rotate a full 360, but it's not on a ball joint for whatever reason, so there's limited range with this one. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body. The elbows can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the wrists. The legs can rotate a little bit. I wouldn't say a full 360 just because it's a little bit hard to do so. And they can also spread from the body. The knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the feet. And the tail is on a ball joint. And, yeah, that's really about it for this figure. And now for Atrociraptor Ghost, so far the only Atrociraptor released. Maybe they'll do the rest of the Atrociraptor squad this year or 2026, but who knows for sure, really. But anyways, this figure is a bit mild. I mean, the eye is way too large for this figure, but then again, I kind of understand it in terms of, like, you know, having size restraints for the glass eye to look good. But at the same time, I mean, like, do they even really need the glass eye anymore? I'm pretty sure they phased out of it whenever they made the Ornitholestes and the other figures released, announced back in Comic-Con. But anyways, so the mouth can open and close. There's a ball joint in the head, and it can move around a bunch and rotate a full 360. And there's also a ball joint here, and you can rotate a full 360. The arms can move a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows. Legs can rotate a full 360 and can spread from the body. Knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the feet. And the tail's on a ball joint and can move around a bunch. And there's also a wire to the tail. And now we are ending off the small figures currently with the ones released in June 2025. So the Troodon, I just don't know what to say about this thing. I mean, it definitely isn't the worst compared to some things we had just looked at. But also, I mean, like, I don't understand what happened here. Like, back whenever it was revealed back in the New York Toy Fair or somewhere, I mean, it looked amazing. Like, it had white and it had red, but now this thing is orange. But now this thing is green and orange. So I don't know what could have happened there, but I mean, who knows? But anyways, the jaw can open and close. The head can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the neck. The arm can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows. The legs can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body. Actually, wait, yeah, you can. The knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the feet. And the incredibly short tail for this figure is on a ball joint, and there's also a wire in there. And now we have the Tiger Velociraptor, which this one is also pretty infamous. And unfortunately, it had potential, but it's just not there anymore. First of all, they have reused some elements in the Atrociraptor, like, for example, the tail and the feet. And also, I mean, this figure is just, I mean, first of all, the orange is too neon. You know, none of the Jurassic animals are neon in any way. But anyways, so the jaw can open and close. The head is on a ball joint and can rotate a bunch. And so is the neck. All of these ball joints are worse now. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows. Legs, again, can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body. Knees can do the same, and so can the feet. And the tail is on a ball joint, and there is a wire in there. And now for genuinely the best small figure so far, we have the Stiggy, or the Stigmalock. I'm just going to call it the Stiggy because that's a bit easier for me to remember and to say. But anyways, so this figure, I really like it. I will say it's not perfect. It should be more of a rust brown color rather than a red. But I kind of like the red a little bit better on this figure. But anyways, so the jaw can open. Come on. The jaw can open and close. The head is on a ball joint and can move around a little bit and rotate a full 360. Although I had to heat up the ball joint on my Stiggy and put baby oil in there. No diddy. So that way I can loosen up the joint a little because, man, it was tight. And the base of the neck is also on a ball joint and can move around a little bit. The arm can rotate a full 360, although I'm not going to try it with this figure, actually. And it can also spread from the body, and so can the elbows. And also, I kind of feel like that the elbow. I also kind of feel like that the forearm is a little bit shorter than the main arm, which, ugh. The legs can rotate, not a full 360, because it's a bit too fat for that. Okay. I am just getting dogpiled by my own figures. And they can also spread from the body. Knees on a ball. The knee can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the feet. The tail is on a ball joint, and there is a wire inside. So, yeah, that's about it for the small Hammond Collection figures. And now it's time for the medium figures. Bruh. And now it's time for the medium-sized Hammond Collection figures, which this one's probably going to be pretty easy because they haven't released a new medium-sized figure in years. I'm just going to leave all these things on the table because it's just... I don't have anywhere to go with them to reach easily, so yeah, let's just get in. Now we're going to start this off with the 2022 medium-sized figures. And we're going to be doing the April ones first, the Baryonyx and the Parasaurolophus. So the Parasaurolophus, again, it was very much okay for its time. There is one slight issue with this thing that I've had since the figure released. Why no feet articulation, Mattel? You gave the Corythosaurus feet articulation, so why not the Parasaurolophus? I get that the Corythosaurus was released a year after, but the Baryonyx also has full leg articulation, so why not give the Parasaurolophus neat feet articulation? Anyway, so the jaw can open and close, and the head is on a ball joint and can move around a bunch. It can also rotate a full 360, and so can the neck. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the feet. No, not the feet. The elbows. The legs can rotate a full 360 and can spread from the body. The knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the ankles, but again, not the feet. The tail is on a ball joint and can move around a bunch and can't rotate too well unless you apply some force to it. And it also has a wire, which I'll only be demonstrating for the Parasaurolophus. But even then, it's pretty terrible because the tail's quite short. So, yeah, that's it for the Parasaurolophus. And now we have the Baryonyx, which is pretty cool, I do gotta say. Mine's a bit worn out and scuffed up, but, I mean, it was released 3 years ago, so what do you expect? But anyway, so the jaw can open and close. There's 2 joints in the jaw. The head can move up and down, but there is no rotation, nor is there any sort of left and right. There's a ball joint in the neck, which is very loose on mine. I'm surprised that it can still even hold its place. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows. The legs can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the knees, ankles, and most importantly, feet. Take notes, Parasaurolophus. Tail on a ball joint, and there's a wire in the tail. And now it's time for the ones released in July, with that being the Triceratops and the Ceratosaurus. Let's get in. Alright, so the Triceratops, I mean, it's bad, and plus, I'm already getting a little bit bored, so you know what? We're just gonna speedrun this one, so... Head articulation, ball joint, legs, not so good rotation, not so good spreading. Okay, elbows and wrists, same deal with the legs, very bad movements on all appendages. Ball joint and tail, and there is another ball joint, so I guess this is the first multi-ball jointed figure, so yeah, let's just get rid of it. And now for a slightly better figure, we got the Ceratosaurus. And, yeah, there. I don't really have anything to say about this figure, so let's just get into the articulation. So the mouth can open and close, like that. The head can move up and down and left and right, but no rotations. There's a ball joint in the neck, and it can also rotate a full 360. The shoulders can spread apart and rotate a full 360, and so can the elbows. The legs can rotate a full 360 and can spread from the body. There's a ball joint in the tail and a wire. Oh, and I almost forgot. The knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the ankles and feet. And yeah, that's about it for the 2022 medium figures. And now we got a little bit of a confusing one, because the Hammond Collection Concavinator was announced on Amazon back in December of 2022, but it had officially released in March of 2023, so just to be safe, I'm going to be reviewing it in between 2022 and 2023. So, yeah. So this figure is the first Hammond Collection figure to have full-on articulation. Well, the first medium figure to have full-on articulation. What I mean by that, like full-on arm articulation, wrist, elbows, and shoulders, feet, ankle, knee, and thigh joint, and yeah. So the Concavinator's mouth can open and close. There's a ball joint in the head and can move around a bunch. It's actually quite a smooth movement. And there is a ball joint in the neck. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows and wrists. The legs can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can knees, ankles, and feet. And there's a ball joint in the tail, which is limited by this extra hump. And there is a wire in the tail, which, yeah. And now it's time for the 2023 March figures. Okay, March of 2023. So here we have the Geo Sternbergia, which is currently the first and only Hammond Collection pterosaur so far. Hopefully they'll release more in the future, like for example the JP3 Pteranodon or even the Jurassic World Dominion Quetzalcoatlus. But anyway, so the mouth can open and close, and the head can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the neck. The wings can move up and down, and there is a wire inside the wings, which I guess I will demonstrate for this one, but I normally just like to keep them straight on. And there's also, and the fingers can also move up and down and rotate a full 360. The legs can rotate a full 360 and spread, I guess? I don't know. The leg articulation for these types of pterosaurs are very confusing, especially on the Hammond Collection Pteranodon, which I'm assuming that this body is from. The knees can also move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the feet. Hopefully they change the pterosaur's hips a little in the future, so that way it isn't as much of a mess as this, because it's very difficult to perch this thing properly. And now it's time for the Ankylosaurus, in which I guess it's okay. It's definitely cool, but not the best one. The mouth can open and close. There's a ball joint in the head and neck, and can move around a bunch, and can rotate a full 360 if you wish. Although now you're going to have to reposition it, because it doesn't like that. None of the limbs can rotate a full 360 because the armor is very limiting on this figure. So the arms can move around a little bit, and they can't really spread too well. It was a big common trend with these herbivores back then. And the elbows can also move and rotate a full 360, and so can the hands, I guess. The legs can spread a little bit better, but again, not perfect. And the knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the feet. And the tail is on multiple ball joints, which I think works pretty well for the figure. And they can move around a bunch. I do kind of wish the tail was a little bit longer, like maybe they had included an extra segment, like, that would extend this tail, like hypothetically here, but meanwhile keeping this full piece intact. But, yeah, apart from that, this is a pretty good figure. And now it's time for the June 2023 figures, in which, beyond this point, there are no more medium figures. Although, I guess you could say that the Carnotaurus size range is now the new medium. Although, I wouldn't really count that as the medium, in my opinion. I would count these figures that are, like, as big as the Wild Roars, but, again, are at, like, the $20 to $25 price range. But, I mean, who knows? I'm not an expert on this stuff. So here we have the Metriacanthosaurus, in which I kind of like the sculpt a little. This was one of the first few confusing Hammond Collection figures because there hadn't been a Well, it wasn't necessarily confusing at first because there had been some official work done for it, although that was from Jurassic World. But they're claiming that this one is from Jurassic Park because this was from one of the embryos that Dennis Nedry stole, in which I don't know why you would make a dinosaur based off an embryo that we have no idea what it would look like if it was fully grown. But I guess it is a little bit fun, like, making up a little bit of an interpretation to see what the animal would have looked like if it had been born instead of stolen by some greedy guy. But anyways, the jaw can open and close, and the head is on a ball joint and can move a little bit, and so is the neck. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows. The legs can spread apart, and it can also rotate a full 360. Ooh. The knee can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the neck and elbows. Why not? The ankles and feet. And the tail's on a ball joint, and there is also a wire in the tail. And now for the most irritating figure, ironically enough, is the Irritator. Now, we weren't necessarily expecting an Irritator from the Hammond Collection, because it's never been featured in any of the films, nor does it have any sort of official Jurassic media outside of games, in which this thing is from a video game. This specific design is from a Jurassic Park 3 game, I don't remember what. But, yeah, so, they definitely improved some things from the Baryonyx. I almost feel like the Irritator and Corythosaurus were specifically released to be sort of like rehashes or better designed versions of the Baryonyx and Parasaurolophus. But, yeah, so the jaw can open and close. The head is on an actual ball joint now, but can only still go left and right and up and down. Neck is on a ball joint and can move around a bunch. Mine has some weird issue on it for whatever reason. And mine doesn't have two of its claws painted on its hands, which is weird. But anyways, the arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows. The legs can rotate a full 360 and can spread from the body. The knee can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the ankles. And the feet. And the tail's on a ball joint, and there is a little wire in here. And I do really like the fact that they've made it more of a finned tail this time. Although mainly I appreciate it more of like for paleo accuracy's sake. Because I am kind of a stickler for paleo accuracy, but I won't go too hard on these animals because, I mean, they are Jurassic World / Jurassic Park, so they're not good. So accuracy is not supposed to be expected in any of these. So, yeah, so let's move on to the Corythosaurus, you handsome devil! This figure is definitely a major improvement in terms of Hadrosaurus as compared to the previously shown Parasaurolophus. But it's still a little bit weird. First of all, its wrists look unnaturally pronated. Like, it's even worse than their usual pronations. See, dinosaurs didn't have pronated wrists, so it's already inaccurate enough, but it just looks painfully pronated. So, yeah. But anyways, so the mouth can open and close. The mouth looks kind of weird, just like with every other herbivore in this line. The head can move up. The head can move a little bit. Can move up and down, left and right, and it can rotate a full 360. And so can the base of the neck. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows. The legs can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body. The knees can move up and down, rotate a full 360, so can the ankles, and more importantly, the feet. See? Look, feet articulation. Take notes, Hammond Collection Parasaurolophus. Who knows, maybe you'll get a re-release next year with articulated feet. But anyways, so there's the ball joint in the tail. And there is a wire in there, and the tail is longer this time. Again, take notes, Parasaurolophus. That is unfortunately all of the medium figures as of now, because so far there hasn't been a single one released since then. Now, like I said earlier, the Carnotaurus size range can now be considered the medium-sized dinosaurs. But again, I'm really just going to go with these guys as the true mediums because, well, it's kind of what the line started out with. So now it's time for the larger figures. Oh boy, this is going to be a doozy. Damn it. I'm sorry, Buck, but you're just going to have to be in that corner for now. Boy, I don't even know if I'll have enough room for these large boys on my desk. I'm just gonna, wait to do the Brachiosaurus last, because my table is crowded as heck, and the Brachiosaurus takes up like half of my table.
Oh, come on, sir. Are you serious?
Bro, do you not see my desk? It is full. Oh, I demand to be on the desk. You better shut your mouth before I rip this neck off you.
Yes, sir. Please, let go of my neck.
Now shut up.
Yes, sir.
Now let me get back into my review. I'm going to get my revenge on that puny human when he least expects it. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's get into reviewing the larger figures. So we're going to be starting off things with the 2022 large figure, which there is only one. Yeah, boy. So this figure, definitely some mixed emotions about this figure, because first of all, it's the T-Rex, so she's like the best one automatically. I mean, not in my personal opinion, but like what other people would say. But at the same time, I mean, this thing is designed so poorly. I mean, I had to modify this thing in order to give it better neck range, just so that way, it could move beyond its head. So, yeah. So, let's just get into the articulation, shall we? So the jaw is on a ratcheting joint and both halves open simultaneously, which I don't know what to say about that, because it's a little bit ridiculous that they open at the same time. Now, mine used to have a very tight ratchety joint, but over time it's just been so yeah. And the tongue moves up and down, which, okay. I'm not necessarily a fan of tongue articulation. I think it's pretty unnecessary. I mean, it's a tongue. I mean, unless it's venom or something, or quite literally anything that requires a really long tongue, I really don't understand the point of tongue articulation. But anyways, the head can move up and down, left and right. Well, left and right and up and down. And it does rotate a little bit, but it's not necessarily the best rotation because of how this thing is designed. I mean, hypothetically you could because of its soft plastic, but at the same time it's not necessarily the best idea to have it rotate. Now this figure has some altered neck articulation, so it's much better on this figure. In fact, it's so good you can see the joint a little, and you can see some scuffing on here, so that's unfortunate. But trust me, you will see the true unaltered potential of the figure once you really and it has a very piss poor torso joint. Sorry, I went silent for a minute. It moves up and down, left and right. It's just And for whatever reason, the shoulder joint pivots side to side instead of moving up and down like a shoulder normally does. I don't know if it's meant to be like an Abelosaurid, where it has its arms where it looks like it's Naruto running permanently, but okay. But yeah. The articulation in the arm is pretty meh. The legs can rotate a full 360 and they can spread from the body. This figure has a double knee joint, which means it can move a little bit, and it can even crouch down pretty well. However, it can't swivel. And plus, the knee looks like a tumor, so that's fun. The ankle can move a little bit, and so can the ginormous feet on this figure. The tail's on 2 ball joints, one right here and another one right here. And the tail has a ball jointed system inside the tail, because I assume bendy wire would be a bit too hard on this thing. But this tail range is awful. I mean, at the absolute max, it's like that. So, yeah. This figure is a little bit worse since it's so old and played with. I mean, maybe a newer Rex might be a little bit better than this. Not like the Buck, but like a newer T-Rex that I got off of eBay would be better. But honestly, even if I did get a new one, this thing is still pretty upsetting. And now it's time for the only large Hammond Collection figure that has been released in 2023, which was originally meant to be released in 2024, but thankfully Mattel, went a little bit easy on us this time and gave us a reasonable release date. And what the hell? Ah, crap.
I told you I'd get my revenge!
Great, so now we have to take a look at this asshole first. So in July of 2023, the Hammond Collection Brachiosaurus had released. Or I think maybe it was in August. I got mine in August, but I think it was more so closer to July. But yeah, this thing is pretty big. I mean, if you had gotten any Mattel sauropods before, especially a Mattel Brachiosaurus, you would understand, but I mean, yeesh. This is my first and so far only, and hopefully only, Mattel sauropod 2 that I have. Hopefully they don't make any more for the Hammond Collection, although I wouldn't complain too much if they released a Hammond Collection of Apatosaurus that was gray. But anyways, yeah. It's going to be kind of difficult to take a look at the articulation, so let's just get into it. So, there's a jaw joint right here, and there is a ball joint in the head, and it can swivel a little bit. The neck is made up of a ball jointed armature, in which it's quite bad actually. It doesn't hold its place, and it's just, I mean, you see the little crevice, it just doesn't hold its place, so I just prefer to go without it. And like in true Mattel sauropod fashion, there is a swivel here at the neck, and there is also a joint. There's also a gigantic joint here, in which you can move it up or down, depending on what you want to do. I prefer to keep mine up because that's a little bit more natural. The leg right here is on a very tight swivel joint. It doesn't rotate any. That's about its max range, and also it doesn't pivot or it doesn't spread from the body at all, which is a little bit upsetting. But I do admit I kind of like that it doesn't spread, because I feel like if this thing is played with enough, it's going to become so loose to where it can't stand on its own. And you definitely don't want that for a figure this size. But anyways, so the elbows can move up and down and rotate a full 360. And so can the hands. Oh. The legs, same deal, there's very limited range. Knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, I'd imagine. And the feet can move up and down and rotate a full 360. And the tail, I was pretty disappointed in the tail. It's just a giant hinge joint in which it can move up and down and rotate a full 360. Although I think it's a little bit more practical instead of having a giant ball joint. And plus, the tail isn't made up of wire anyway, so, I mean, it doesn't really even matter. But there is a ball joint at the tip of the tail, and there's also a little swivel joint here where it just rotates. And honestly, I don't even know why they added that swivel joint. It's kind of annoying, honestly, because it rarely ever stays in place. I don't know how, but every time I handle this thing, it just seems to get twisted all over the place. So yeah, that's that's it for this figure. We have to move this thing off the desk now. Wait, so now it's time for November of 2023 with the Carnotaurus. Now the Carnotaurus, I mean, I got mine a day early. It released in November 26th of 2023, and yeah, I'd say it's pretty cool. Although I do kind of wish that they made the arms a little shorter and that they didn't have elbow joints. Because this thing is an Abelisaur, and they're known for their ridiculously short arms, like shorter than the Tyrannosaur's arms. But alas, we got the Carnotaur, so I ain't complaining. The jaw has the same ratcheting joint as the T-Rex, where it opens simultaneously no matter which direction you open it from. And the head can move left and right and up and down. Unfortunately, the neck can only move up and down. It can move left and right, but very minimal. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows. If I can even move them, that is. The legs can rotate a little bit. They can rotate a full 360, but it's going to have a little bit of a hard time doing that. And the legs can spread from the body. The knee can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the ankles and feet. Tail's on 2 ball joints, one here and another one here, and there's also a wire in the tail. And, yeah. Overall, I wish this thing was designed a little bit better, but it is a pretty darn good figure. So, yeah, let's move on. And now it's time for the 2024 large figures. And, of course, we're going to be starting off with June's large figures. So here we have the Giganotosaurus, and this is by far the largest of the large figures. It is the second largest Hammond Collection figure, just behind the Brachiosaurus. And overall, they designed this thing pretty well. They finally got rid of the simultaneous ratchet joints and had swapped it out for better ones. But it does have its issues. Like, first of all, although they are blunt, these things are pointy as heck. Which I understand. Like, there's no real way to make them soft or there's no real way to, like, make them child safe, but at the same time, if an 8-year-old gets their hands on this, because it's recommended for ages 8 and up, yeah, it has the potential to do damage, is what I'm saying. But anyway, so the jaw can open and close, both halves. The tongue can also move up and down. And this time it has a click. I don't necessarily know what triggers it. But, I mean, hey, it's got a click now. And again, I really don't care too much for tongue articulation. It's pretty pointless. It has a ball joint in the head, although it's pretty limited because of the spikes on it. Same deal with the neck joint. It's just pretty rough. The arms can rotate a full 360. At least I think they do. I'm just not going to try it because this thing is huge. And they can also spread from the body. So can the elbows and the wrists. The legs can rotate a little bit. Hypothetically they could do that, which isn't hypothetical, we just saw it happen. But I wouldn't recommend rotating it a full 360 because I don't think it's meant to do that. But anyways, the legs can also spread. The knee can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the ankles and feet. The tail is on 2 ball joints. Thankfully, for once, the double ball joints are separated now. But anyways, this ball joint, it does its job well. It's a lot better than the Rex's ball joint, but at the same time, I mean, like, again, it's very limiting because of the spines. And same deal with the bendy part of the tail. As you can see, mine has some wear. So, yeah. And the tail can bend a little. And it's actually quite decent for the size of a figure. But, yeah. So, that's about it for this figure. And now for the last one for June 2024, and going back into the roughly Carnotaurus size range, we got the Dinosaurs. And this figure is pretty nice. I mean, maybe the head could be a little bit bigger, and maybe the body couldn't look so weird in comparison to the head and neck. Who knows? So the jaw can open and close. There is a ball joint in the head in which it can move around a bunch, and one in the neck. The arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body, and so can the elbows and wrists. And there is claw articulation, not finger articulation, but claw articulation. I mean, on one hand, this is a good idea on paper because, like, it's actually quite cool that it has articulated fingers. But at the same time, I mean, that's kind of weird to put the articulation at the claws. Now, I understand that they would have, like, a limited amount of space, but they should have at least just tried to make the fingers articulated, because the claw articulation looks pretty weird, and it's like if people in real life could bend their extraordinarily long nails over and over again to make different poses. Hey, screw you, pal. The leg can rotate a little bit. I don't think it can rotate a full 360. I'm just gonna say it can't. I think there actually is like a little stopping point in there. And it can also spread from the body. Knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the ankles and the feet. And the tail is on a ball joint, and this figure has the best armature inside here out of all of them. Both the Therizinosaurus and Allosaurus have pretty damn good armature in here. I don't know if this is wire or if it's the ball jointed armature. It definitely feels more like the ball jointed armature. But overall, I mean, I'm impressed with the armature in here. It's pretty nice. So, yeah, that's about it for this figure. And now it's time for the large figure of December 2024, the Hammond Collection Allosaurus. Now, I was really excited whenever this figure came out, but that doesn't make it perfect. I've preached, I wanted the Hammond Collection Allosaurus since the line release. I made 2 different customs, both of which I don't think you can see anymore. I know definitely one of them you can't see anymore, but who knows. But, yeah, my main issues with this figure is that its head looks very, very small in comparison to its body. Like, unreasonably small. And, yeah, I kind of wish they made the head a little bit bigger. Like, maybe it would be slightly bigger than the Roar-Attack Allosaurus face. I don't know, the head's just too small for me. And plus, this neck is unusually long. I don't know if it had a long neck, and if it did, I don't know if it'd be this long. But, yeah, so those are my biggest gripes to this figure. Apart from that, it's a pretty decent figure. But anyways, so the jaw can open and close. Both are on a ratchet joint. The head can move up and down and left and right, but no rotation because of how this thing is sculpted. Same deal with the neck ball joint, up, down, left, right. But there is actually, I wouldn't recommend doing the rotation. Mine's ball joint is really tight, and yeah, if you try to force a tight ball joint, then it's probably gonna break. So just to be safe, don't rotate it. The arms can rotate a full 360. At least I think they can. Yeah, they can. And can spread from the body. Same deal with the wrists and the elbows. The elbows and wrists. Which, I really appreciate that this animal doesn't have pronated wrists. Not just because of paleo accuracy, but, well, yeah, mainly just because of paleo accuracy. But as a whole, I'm kind of surprised that they gave this animal no pronations with the wrists, because usually they just go screw it and just pronate the wrists anyway. But anyways, the legs, I mean, you can rotate them a full 360, although I would highly discourage from doing it. Well, I would highly discourage you from doing it, because, I mean, you just saw what happened. And they do have a very good spread. The knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the ankles and the feet. The tail's on a ball joint, and my goodness. Whatever they're using for these figures' tails, they need to apply to every figure, because, good golly, there is resistance, and it holds its shape, and it doesn't look like a wrinkly ball sack whenever you do it. The tail articulation saved this figure for me. And now it's time for what I would say would be the best year in terms of the large figures, 2025. And we're going to be starting off with June's large figures. So the Stegosaurus is actually pretty nice in terms of a Hammond Collection herbivore. It doesn't have the jaw articulation anymore, but honestly, that's acceptable, because, I mean, it just makes it look hideous, and it would be a whole ordeal. Although mine seems to have a bit of an issue with the pupil. It looks like it's very intrigued with whatever's in front of it, which is weird because on the other side the pupil is painted normally. So yeah, that's a bit weird. But anyways, the head can move a bunch. It's on a ball joint. Really smooth ball joint, actually. And the neck is on a ball joint. Doesn't have the best range because of the plates, but they actually tried to make it work, unlike the Dimetrodon and Dinosaur. The arms can rotate a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily say do a full 360, just because it is designed to have like limited range. And the arms can spread out quite nicely, actually. This is how they should do it with the herbivores, not like whatever the heck's going on with the adult Triceratops and the Ankylosaurus. There's also the elbows can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the hands. The leg can rotate a little bit, definitely not a full 360 due to how bulky this thing is. And the legs can spread apart decently far. The knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the feet. The tail's on a really nice ball joint, and it can rotate a lot easier than normal ball joints. However, the jointed armature in the tail is a little bit. It's definitely not the worst, but at the same time, it's not really the best. It's kind of like on par with like re-release Hammond Collection T-Rex range type of articulation. But yeah, the most disappointing part about this figure is that the Thagomisers are made out of the same rubbery material, which I get. There doesn't need to be a unique material for just the Thagomisers. But I do kind of wish it was made out of the same I do wish it was kind of made out of the same soft plastic as like per se the head or the elbows or the arms. So yeah, that's it for the Stegosaurus. And now the Hammond Collection figure everyone wanted. Everyone and they mama wanted the Hammond Collection Spinosaurus, and dagnabbit, we finally have it. And yeah, I'm still not going to get over the fact that this thing is brown instead of gray. But, I mean, it does the job, and currently is very popular with Spinosaurus beans. So, yeah, I now officially own a meme figure, so that's nice. Although I think the Hammond Collection Spinosaurus trend is dead now. At least as of uploading this video. I'm pretty sure it'll die like a few days after I get done recording this, but you know what, let's be optimistic. Let's take a look at this thing. So this figure is pretty nice. And yeah, there's definitely quite a few issues with this thing just beside it being brown. I do appreciate that the tail is all in one piece this time, rather than what they usually do for the larger figures and separate them with two different joints. But anyways, the jaw is on a very tight ratchet joint. It can open and close. And the tongue can also move up and down. there is a very noticeable click, but you don't really feel it as much as the Giganotosaurus. I don't really like these jaw tendon membrane things because they just look a bit too straight for this animal. Like, I'm pretty, like, maybe if there was a little bit of curvature in there, like, kind of like this, but, like, I don't know. I do believe that the mouth opens too wide for it anyway, so I just normally prefer to keep the mouth open using the bottom jaw joint. But anyways, the head can move up and down and left and right, but there's no rotation with this thing since it uses a harder plastic for the neck. Speaking of which, it is a ball joint and it can move around a bunch. Although, for whatever reason, the ball joint on the neck is very loose. So I might realistically have to split this thing open and tighten that joint if I want any chance of it to be tightened. And mine does have a quality issue with its left arm because just the slightest pressure just makes it pop off. I could easily just pop it back in, but it's a bit annoying to do that. So we're just going to be switching over to this side. Anyways, so the arms can rotate a full 360 and spread from the body. The elbows can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the wrists. In which the wrists are made out of a rubbery material, which I don't know why they are, but who knows. Anyways, the legs can rotate a full 360, I assume so. I actually haven't tried it. Yes, they can. A lot of these figures I probably would just like not recommend rotating them a full-on 360 because it's a bit iffy. And the legs can spread. The knees can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the ankles, which I really don't like how the ankles are sculpted. They look very fat around the edges. And also the feet can move. The tail is on a nice ball joint. It's very tight. In fact, I don't even know if I can get it down. But anyways, the ball joint does that. It can swivel a lot. And the range is, it's okay with this figure. Definitely not as good as Dinosaur or Allosaurus, but it's got decent range for this figure. So, yeah, that is it for the June Hammond Collection figures on the large scale. And last but not least, we have the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Convention Crasher Hammond Collection Buck. And thankfully this is the last figure that we have to go over for this video, because it does get a little bit repetitive making these videos, but hey, I'm committed to it because, you know, I feel like I need to inform people what's in the collection, and so, yeah. Although I definitely don't go over how you can get this thing afterwards, so, yeah, I'm just showcasing my collection, and I'm committed to doing this for you guys, even if it takes like 1 hour, 2 hours, maybe a whole day, who knows. But anyways, so, yeah, let's just get into this figure. Now, one thing I do have to mention right off the bat, this thing is horribly inaccurate compared to the Buck on film, because for one, the only thing that's updated is the head sculpt and the feet. So there's not going to be any sort of like unique features of this thing that the Buck in the film had. Doesn't even have the dewlap. And plus, I mean, the colors are just very inaccurate. It has more of an homage to the Kenner Bull Rex, but even then, it's very iffy. Although, honestly, I really like these colors, and it makes the figure a little bit more unique to me. So, yeah. And the glass eye is a lot better on this figure than on the previous T-Rex. And, yeah. They have improved some of the joints, meanwhile they left some of the joints the same, so, yeah, we'll get over that soon. So the jaw is on a ratchet joint, and this one's a lot better than the previous T-Rex, because this one is, like, not even a week old. And the tongue still has the same range, and it's a lot bloodier on the inside than in the previous Rex. But then again, I really don't care about the tongue articulation. I think it's pretty pointless, as I stated, like, maybe 2 or 3 times already. Anyways, we can close that. Oh, the head's squeaky. The head can look side to side and can also move up and down. A little bit of rotation, but I wouldn't recommend it. the most this thing can really do is just look up and down. There is very limited range in the neck. Like, as you can see, that's about as far as it'll go. The arm articulation is the same deal. The sides pivot rather than going up and down. Unless you want to consider this the up and down motion, and it's meant to look like it's jump scaring you. Anyways, the elbow joint moves up and down and rotates a full 360, and so can the fingers. Although the finger joints are a bit iffy on mine. The torso joint, it's much tighter than the previous Rexes, and that is really good because, as you saw with my Rex, it's barely holding up anymore. The legs can rotate a full 360 like the previous Rex, and can spread apart from the body. Like the previous T-Rex, it has a tumor knee, which means it has a double joint where it can easily crouch down, but there will be no swivel with the knees. The ankles can move up and down and rotate a full 360, and so can the feet, which are much smaller now. The tail ball joint, it's about the same as the previous one. Of course, mine's currently tight, although it is starting to no longer hold its place, so that's a bit worrisome. Same deal with the same deal with the tail tip, and the tail has pretty decent range actually. Like, that's about its max range, which is a lot better than the Hammond Collection T-Rexes from the past. So hopefully they may make a doe T-Rex or even a bull T-Rex. And maybe they can finally make the tail all in one piece. But, yeah, who knows? That's to be determined. But anyways, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one, and goodbye. Whew!